And welcome back to Monday Evening Quarterback. It's Monday, November 16th, 2025. Yeah, this year is wrapping up very quickly. Um, and Thanksgiving is over a week away. I can't believe it. Um, Thank you guys as always for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the first half of MEQ. I was able to just talk about everything that caught my eye in week 12 of college football. Oklahoma getting a big win on the road in Tuscaloosa against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Yeah, that's a big win. That's back-to-back years they beat the Alabama Crimson Tide. Georgia pretty much eliminating Texas from playoff contention. I mean, Texas is still going to go to a bowl game because you need 6 wins. They're 7-3, so there's no denying that. And Texas A&M coming back on South Carolina, that's just unacceptable. I would have fired Shane Beamer right then and there on the field, Herm Edwards style. But now it's time to talk about what caught my eye in where these young men in college football hope to be in the next year or two, which is the National Football League. The New England Patriots are the real deal. Like, I expected them to be a much improved team, but I didn't expect them to be 9-2. Good. Mike Vrabel, man, he's come in and just kind of like changed the entire culture of this franchise. Like, this franchise has really struggled after Brady left. Only made the playoffs once, haven't won a playoff game since that sixth Super Bowl they won against the Los Angeles Rams. And now the Patriots could be vying for home field advantage in the AFC. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year? I said this a couple of weeks ago. I think I said it here on MEQ. And I remember saying it in my preview when I was writing about their game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a modern-day Belichick type team, but they're just having fun. They're young. They have a younger coach. I think that can relate to them because Mike Vrabel was them. I think Mike Vrabel is the true definition of a player's coach, and he brings out the best in these guys, and most importantly, they want to play for him. I just saw certain instances where the Patriots would look like they wouldn't want to play for Gerard Mayo and even Bill Belichick years later. But, Mike Vrabel was a hand-in-glove fit for this New England franchise. I mean, said it a couple times on here. I've said it a couple times on the shows I contribute for, and I'll say it here again. Said it on the site. Like, Mike Vrabel was my pick to win Coach of the Year. The Patriots have won 8 games in a row. The last time they lost was Week 3 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Drake May he's a wizard in the pocket. Just really getting the chance to sit down and watch him. He has such a feel and a presence for the pocket. New England are doing it on both sides of the ball. They're running the ball. They're playing defense. They're making teams one-dimensional. 9-2. They're in cruise control right now in this division. Just unbelievable. And this feels like old times. Once again, just a new roster. But yeah, Mike Vrabel to me is one of the best coaches in the league. I want to talk about what happened in East Rutherford. Packers, Giants, last week. The Packers lost a very tough yet low-scoring football game to the defending Super Bowl champs, 10-7. Now, if you're a football enthusiast like I am, you enjoyed every second of that game. Everybody wants to see all the high scoring and this and that. Nah, I want to see guys punch each other in the mouth, play physical, win the line of scrimmage, things like that. And that's exactly the type of game that was. I was asked about the Packers and the issue. What the issue is, they're having a tough time running the ball. It's almost like they don't even want to establish Josh Jacobs. The Giants, on the other hand, it's been a tough week for them. They fired Brian Daboll. You knew the writing and the inevitable was on the wall. He just really never... What's the word I'm looking for? He never improved after that Coach of the Year. He never ascended. That's the word I was looking for. He never ascended after that Coach of the Year award. Yeah, he won 20 games, but 11 of those came in one season. And after that, just couldn't win football games. Jameis Winston got the start for the New York Giants. And, coming into the game, I said to myself, I could see him giving the Giants the energy boost they need. It's the third quarterback that they're starting this year. First, it was Russell Wilson. Then it was Jackson Dart. Jackson got hurt. Russell got benched. Now it's up to Jameis. What version of the Packers offense was going to show up? Because they struggled against Carolina. They struggled against the Philadelphia Eagles. What could they do yesterday against the Giants? Jordan Love, 13 of 24, 174 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. And as a team, the Packers actually ran the ball pretty well. 23 times for 128 yards. That's a little over 5.5 yards per carry. Josh Jacobs got hurt. Emmanuel Wilson came in, finished the game with 40 yards rushing. Jameis Winston, 19 of 29, 201 yards passing, no touchdowns, and he did throw an interception. When doesn't he? And the Packers escaped with a 27-20 victory. This is a big win for them. To keep track with the Bears, who I will talk about, the Lions. Yeah, this is a big win for them. The Giants are 2-9. Crazy. Steelers got their revenge against Cincinnati in the Unk Bowl, as people on social media were calling it. Aaron Rodgers got hurt in this game. I think he left the game with a wrist injury. So Mason Rudolph had to finish the game. But, there were some tempers flying in this one. Jalen Ramsey was ejected from the game for punching Jamar Chase. He's saying Jamar spit on him. I don't even have the words. But the Steelers are 6-4. Bengals just continue to be a disappointment. And if at this point, so here's how I look at it with the Bengals. You're 3-7. It's gonna take a long shot for you to even try to get in and make the playoffs. Why even bring Joe Burrow back? Just chalk this up as an L and raise the white flag, bro. The Steelers won this game 34-12. Especially with how embarrassing they played last week against the Los Angeles Chargers. Aaron Rodgers, 9 of 15, 116 yards passing, 1 touchdown. And Mason Rudolph also threw a touchdown too. Joe Flacco, 23 of 40, 199 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So the Steelers got their revenge because that was a game they could have won a couple of weeks ago in Cincinnati. But sometimes the ball doesn't bounce the way you want it to. A team I need to call out are the Los Angeles Chargers. It's almost been like a roller coaster for them. Starting 3-0, coming down, getting punked by the New York Giants, getting your lunch money taken away by the Washington Commanders, You got punked by the Indianapolis Colts. The Chargers played down too much the competition because they didn't look all that great last week to me against Tennessee Titans. Against Jacksonville, I think they forgot that they had a football game. I mean, they clearly didn't show up. You only scored 6 points, and that's not going to cut it in today's NFL. Maybe 20 years ago, yeah, sure, but Jacksonville just absolutely punched Los Angeles in the mouth, 35-6. Justin Herbert, 10 of 18, only 81 yards passing, no touchdowns, 1 interception. And he was also their leading rusher. Trevor Lawrence, 14 of 22, 153 yards, and 1 touchdown with 1 interception. He wasn't sacked. I know I'm probably going to butcher this, but Bashal Tutin was the leading rusher. And as a team, Jacksonville ran the ball for 192 yards. That's been their bread and butter this year. Jacksonville's a team that I'm still trying to figure out. Plus, I knew the Jaguars were coming to this game like with their hair on fire, just due to the simple fact they blew a 16-point lead last week against the Houston Texans in Houston. So they kind of played with a sense of urgency. Dolphins beat the Commanders in Madrid 16-13 in overtime. The Texans got away with a victory in Nashville 16-13. And how about the Chicago Bears? They're 7-3. They're 4-2 on the road. And they got a very nice victory when it looked kind of grim against the Minnesota Vikings. But one thing that worked in the favor of the Chicago Bears was they're the only team who has seen J.J. McCarthy twice. Now, you're probably listening to this, or you've heard me say this before, and you're like, yeah, that doesn't mean much. No, that means a lot. So now they know how to game plan for him the second time around. I'm so proud of Caleb Williams, and just the maturity he's showing, and most importantly, the leadership he's showing. 16-32, 193 yards passing, no touchdowns, no interceptions. J.J. McCarthy threw 2 interceptions. Minnesota really couldn't get their running game going. The Bears grinded this game out 19-17. Sitting at 7-3, and they got a big game next week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think I know somebody that might be previewing that game. I ain't gonna say no names, but yeah. Arguably the game of the day in the 1 o'clock window. Tampa Bay, Buffalo. I'm so glad I decided to drop a preview for this. Both these teams have kind of been trending in the same direction. You look at you look at Tampa Bay. They got off to that hot start. They were looking to just run away with the NFC South, but that really hasn't been the case as of late. Remember when Baker was being considered the front runner and the favorite to win MVP? I think these injuries are just catching up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Buffalo. Buffalo started 4-0. Then, they've lost quite a few games since losing that game to New England. You lost to Atlanta. They've lost 3 out of their last 5 games. This was back and forth. I saw a little banter between Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield prior to the game, like during the week. They're good friends. This was MVP Josh Allen yesterday. 19-30, 317 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. No, he wasn't sacked, but one of those interceptions he threw was completely on him because it's almost like he was trying to just do a little baseball toss with the ball, and there was somebody wearing a red jersey there. And he also ran for 3 touchdowns as well, so he accounted for 6 touchdowns. Remember, he did this last year against the Los Angeles Rams. Buffalo's soft. I don't really know another way to put it. Buffalo has they've regressed. And what I mean is the offense is a little too predictable. They need to make James Cook the focal point of the offense. And they really don't have an identity. They have a guy named Josh Allen. Defensively, the Buffalo Bills can't stop the run. And looking at these numbers right here, they gave up over 200 yards rushing, 202 to be exact. And it's not looking good for them. You know, they're already looking up to New England in the division. I can't wait for that next matchup between the Patriots and the Bills. Because by that time, either the division will pretty much be wrapped up or the division will still be up for grabs. The way Buffalo played yesterday, that's how they have to play moving forward, because their defense doesn't have enough prowess to stay on the field and make a stop. Offense is going to have to sustain long drives. Josh is going to have to take care of the ball. And Keon Coleman, get it together, man. You could have been big time today. You were my X factor in my preview before, I end up hearing that he got benched before the game for missing the meeting. Get it together, young man. Buffalo wins this game 44-32. They're just a completely different team at home. Buffalo's 7-3. They're keeping up. And, looking at what else caught my eye. How about the Rams? The Rams are 8-2. They're rolling right now, and they won a squeaker against Seattle, 21-19. Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions, and I was just praising this kid. But no, the Rams have shown you they can win games in different ways. Close battle. I kind of like those low-scoring affairs, but Seattle did what they had to do. They're 8-2. They're running away with the NFC West. They were my pick to win it, and I'm sticking with it. And Baltimore. Look, I don't trust the Ravens. I'm just going to put it to you like that. Baltimore grinded a game out in Cleveland. They're 5-5. 23-16. Lamar Jackson threw 2 interceptions. And we finally got a Shedeur Sanders sighting. Not the greatest. Not the greatest stat line. 416, 47 yards passing. No touchdowns, 1 interception. Dylan Gabriel, unfortunately, got hurt in this game. That's why Shedeur finished the game. Baltimore finally fed the big fella, Derrick Henry. 18 carries, 103 yards, 1 touchdown. Yeah, see? Feed him the ball. 18 to 25 times at the most. And let him have an impact. Baltimore ran the ball for 184 yards on 30 carries. Baltimore's 5-5. This is an ugly win, but there's things they got to patch up on. Just put it to you like that. With that being said, that is all I have for the NFL. There is a Monday night game to wrap up Week 11 tonight, and that is the Dallas Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders. I think Dallas wins this game. I know they're going to be emotional, too, with this being their first game since the, unfortunate passing of the teammate Marshawn Kneeland, and I like to offer my sympathy to his family, the Cowboys organization, and those who just knew him. Gonna want to go out and get this for him, and the Raiders just aren't a good football team, so I think Dallas cruises. I think they will have a great game on both sides of the ball. And, I also like to offer my sympathies to the family of Kenny Easley, the Hall of Famer, who just passed away. I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. Remember when he just went into the Hall in 2017 with LaDainian Tomlinson, Jason Taylor, Kurt Warner, Yeah, it was a pretty good class. Thoughts go out to the Seahawks organization and the family of Kenny Easley. And with that being said, we're going to wrap this thing up. As always, thank you for always tuning in to Monday Evening Quarterback. If you like what you heard, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. I will get this thing back on Spotify. Trust and believe. But this is the best way because I didn't want to keep missing shows and wanted to make sure you guys were able to keep up with everything that was going on. Log on to our site, become a subscriber today, thedailyblitz.blog, enter your email address, and anything that gets posted to the site will be sent to your email inbox. Keep up with us on social media. Twitter at DailyBlitz_61. Instagram at the Daily Blitz 61. You can follow my personal page as well at the Football Analyst _61. Keep up with me on the radio every Monday night and Tuesday night. Catch me on Prime Sports World with David On Point, Israel Rivera, Matt James, and some guy named TJ Hopkins. Nah, I'm playing. TJ's cool when he wants to be. That's every Monday night and Tuesday night. Wednesdays, you can catch me on The Betting Window with Ronnie Kumpf, John Danzo, Ryan Shaw. Thursdays, you can catch me on Snowman in the Morning with Brian Snow. Friday, you can catch me on College Football Showdown on Prime Sports World with Israel Rivera and Matt James. College season's winding down. NFL season's heating up. We're starting to see the playoff picture in both college football and the NFL. Yeah, and of course, I'm going to end the show with shout-outs. As always, a huge shout-out to my amazing family, my mom, my sister Taylor, who I love oh so very much. My son, better known as my dog, Steve, around here somewhere. My dad, thank you for everything you do. My other siblings, Sean, Janice, Tanisha, Daphne, my little adopted nephew, Aiden, Brandon, Robert Butler, Jason Tyree, Kim Fryer, Candace Carter, Mike Griffin, my guy Rob Carter, really doing some big things right now in the culinary industry. Velo, Alex Bennett, Corey Harris, Deshaun Elliott, and happy birthday to Deshaun's son, DJ. Just turned big 2, so happy birthday, adopted nephew. Kevin Cooper, his wife Lynn, their beautiful daughter Evelyn, who we all refer to as Evie. Cole Johnson, better known as Coach, and our moderator D. Yeah, we got a lot of football to talk, so I'm about to go hit those guys up before I jump on over to the Prime. This has been another episode of Monday Evening Quarterback. I will be back here next week. Have a great rest of the week. Enjoy Monday Night Football, and I hope you enjoy this episode just as much as I have fun recording this episode. I'll be back here soon. Take care.